You've paid this company hundreds of times. Your coffee, your phone, that subscription you forgot you're even paying for. And in all of those years, it has never once paid you back. That's the part nobody says out loud. The money only flows in one direction out. But there's one small move that flips that arrow completely. The company you pay every week can start paying you. And every so often, a little extra trickles back on its own. No work, no extra money in. Hold that thought. It's the strange part I'll come back to. Two guys, same salary, same coffee. One makes that move, the other never does. And years later, it's the only difference that mattered. So here's the literal version in one line. You hand a company a few dollars, and a microscopic piece of it becomes yours, a piece that can grow and pay you. That's it. Everything after this is just how and how much. And what happens next is the part almost nobody understands. Meet Mark and Alex, coworkers, and honestly, almost interchangeable. Same job, same paycheck, same coffee every single morning. So instead of listing everything they've got in common, let me jump straight into the one thing that isn't the same. Because years from now, one of them is standing on a slice of everything around him. Hold that image. I'll show you that number in a minute, but it means nothing until you see how he got there. And here's the strange part. The difference costs him nothing extra. They both keep their exact same life. Mark, his morning coffee. Alex, his. Neither one gives up a single thing. But the $5 Alex used to drop on takeout lunch every day, he stops sending it out and starts sending it in. Same $5 redirected into buying tiny pieces of the companies he already pays every week. Same salary, same lifestyle, one small stream pointed in a different direction. That's the whole fork. One of them stays a customer for life. The other quietly starts owning the businesses he lives around. One small, quiet choice, made today and paying off for years to come. Now, the deeper version, because owning a piece is stranger and better than it sounds. Forget the charts for a second. This is the real story. A business needs money to grow, so it does something simple. It slices itself into millions of tiny pieces and then sells them. Each piece is called a share. And when you buy one, you don't just own a ticket that goes up and down, you own a piece of it, an actual piece. Sit with that because it's the whole game. Buying a share isn't betting on a number. It makes you a part owner of the business. A tiny one, sure, but a real one, with an actual claim on the profits it makes. And I mean a real company, not an abstraction. The coffee chain you go to, the phone in your hand. Buy a share, and a microscopic slice of that business is now literally yours. It doesn't feel like much, but it's the whole difference. Picture Alex back in that same coffee line. He still buys the cup, nothing changed there. But now, somewhere in the back of that company's books, a sliver of it has his name on it. He's paying the shop and owning a piece of the shop in the same breath. That's what this actually looks like on a Tuesday. So now you know what a share is. But here's a second half to this, the part that actually pays you back. Because here's the strange part. The company can just decide to send you a cut of the profits, or decide not to. That's the half nobody explains. And this is where the whole thing stops being an idea and starts being real money. So let's talk about Mark. And I want to be clear here because this part gets misread a lot. Mark isn't the fool of this story. He's not reckless. He's not bad with money. He's just normal. He does exactly what almost everyone else does. Watch his morning. He walks in, hands over his $5, gets his coffee, and walks out happy. Nothing wrong with that. He earned it, he wanted it, he bought it. Fair trade. But here's the thing about that trade. It only ever runs one way. His money goes to the company. The coffee comes to him. And then it's over. He is never, not once, on the other side of that counter. Now, zoom out. Do that same one-way trade every single day. Then add the phone. Add the shoes, and everything, basically. The car, the subscriptions he forgot about, all of it, for 40 years. Every dollar he spends makes the people who own those companies richer. And Mark? He owns none of it. He funded all of it and kept nothing. Put a number on just the coffee. $5 a day for 40 years. That's about $73,000. Handed over. Gone. Not wasted. He got his coffee. But every cent of it made someone else richer. Never him. That's the customer trap. It isn't that spending is a mistake. Spending is fine. Spending is life. It's that his whole relationship with these companies only points one direction. Out. Forever. And honestly, this is the part that should sting a little, because it's probably you too. It was me. It's almost everyone. So if this trade only runs one way, what does the other direction actually look like? That's the half I held back. Here it is. So here it is, the half I kept hidden. When you own a share, it pays you back two different ways at the same time. One, the business grows, so your piece is worth more. And two, and this is the part that gets people, it can hand you a slice of the profit in cash just for owning it. That second one is called a dividend, money that shows up simply because you own the thing. And I want you to really picture that dividend for a second, because it's the strangest feeling in money. You wake up, you did nothing. You didn't work, you didn't sell anything. And a little more money is just sitting in your account, sent to you by a company because you own a sliver of it. The first time it happens, it almost feels fake, like you got away with something. Let me show you what that actually looks like, taken to the extreme. Back in 1919, Coca-Cola sold its first shares to the public for $40 each. Just one share, 40 bucks. Now, imagine someone bought that single share and then did the most boring thing possible. Nothing. They never sold. They just held it and passed it down for 100 years. Here's what happened to that one share. Because the company kept growing and splitting over the decades, that single share quietly turned into 9,216 shares. Not by buying more, just by holding one. That stack? About 2/3 of $1 million. Somewhere around 675 grand from a $40 share nobody ever touched. And it still isn't done. It pays out roughly $19,000 a year in dividends every year just for owning it. The customer spent money at Coca-Cola for a lifetime. The owner got paid by Coca-Cola for a lifetime. Same company, opposite ends of the counter. Now, I have to be honest with you because that's a freak example. 100 years, one lucky company, nobody touching it. You are not going to find the next Coca-Cola, and you shouldn't bet on it. So let's throw the time machine away and do the version that's actually you. Remember Alex? He redirected $5 a day, his old lunch money, into owning pieces of businesses. About $150 a month. Nothing crazy. He does that for 30 years, and I'll keep the return careful here. A steady 7%, nothing heroic. That grows to around $183,000. And here's the kicker. Of that whole pile, only $54,000 ever came out of his pocket. The other $129,000? That showed up for one reason, and one reason only. He owned instead of just bought. No time machine, no lucky old share, just lunch money pointed the other way. Now, is it magic? No. Prices swing. Some years it drops and you'll feel it. And honestly, it's slow. It's kind of boring. But that's the secret nobody puts on a thumbnail. The boring part is the whole point. So back to Alex, and I don't want to make this sound cleaner than it was, because at the start, it almost didn't happen. A few months in, his first dividend actually landed. His slice of the profit, the moment this whole video is about. And you know how much it was? A few cents. Not a few dollars. Cents. He stared at it and thought, that's it? That's the thing everyone's so excited about? This is nothing. And honestly, that's the moment most people quit. It feels pointless. It feels too small to matter. Alex almost stopped right there, but he didn't, because he figured out the thing that changes everything. The first payment was never the point, the 100th was. And it wasn't smooth sailing after that either. A few years in, the whole market dropped. Alex opened his account and it was actually worth less than what he'd put in. Down, in the red. And that little voice came back louder. See? This was a mistake. Get out now. Meanwhile, Mark, who'd never really started, felt relieved he'd sat it out. But here's what Alex figured out, and it's the opposite of what your gut screams. When the price drops, the same $5 buys more. The dip wasn't the thing to survive, it was the thing that made it work. So he kept buying, cheaper, and that's the moment it clicked for him. The thing that felt boring, the thing that felt too slow to matter, was the exact thing quietly doing the work. He stopped waiting for it to feel exciting. He just let it be boring and let it run. That's the whole trick nobody has the patience for. So he just kept going. Same $5 every day, quietly redirected. And here's what that boring little habit actually did. Watch the years roll. Year 1, barely anything. Honestly, you'd laugh. Year 5, okay, now it's real money. But once you're past the 10-year mark is where it gets weird. The growth starts pulling its own weight, and soon it's adding more each year than he is. Read that again. The money is out-earning him. And somewhere in there, without a single dramatic moment, Alex quietly became an owner, a small piece of the coffee shop, the phone company, the businesses he lives around, all working for him while he sleeps. No lottery, no windfall, no day it exploded, just $5 at a time, quietly compounding into something that was finally his. So, here's the honest answer to the whole thing. Buying a stock will not make you rich overnight. Nothing ignites. There's no switch, no explosion, no confetti. What actually happens is quieter than that, and honestly, better. You slowly stop being only the person who pays, and you start being the person who gets paid. That's it. That's the whole move. And before you tell yourself you don't earn enough for this, look at this. $250 a month, 7%, a full career, 40 years. You land somewhere around $656,000. And the wild part? You only ever put in about $120,000 of that yourself. The rest just showed up because you owned instead of only bought. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to not stay a customer forever. You don't start with 200 grand. You start with one share. One. Whatever you can spare this week, redirected from something you were going to spend anyway. It'll feel too small to count. So did Alex's first few cents. That's not the reason to skip it. That's the reason it works. One kept paying. One started owning. And years later, that was the only difference that mattered. If this made the way your money works feel even a little clearer, stick around. That's the whole point of this channel. Next, we'll go deeper on that dividend, the strange rules behind how a company decides to pay you, and how people quietly turn those payments into a second income. See you there. Money Decoded. Once you see it, you can't unsee it.